UltraProffie runs an open source firmware, so you have access to the source code which you can modify and reprogram the board. I would recommend you not to do this unless you are absolutely sure you know what you are doing, because software can damage hardware. So unless you are a developer wanting to improve the firmware, your best chance for a long and peaceful relationship with your UltraProffie board is not to touch the source code. With one exception, styles are built into the firmware, so the only way to customize styles is to change the source code and reprogram the board. You don't need any programming skills for this, just to follow the instructions that I'm gonna give you. Let's start with what we need besides UltraProffie. You need a dev port, which is this little box here that lets you connect your board to a computer via USB. If you don't have a dev port, you can use a general purpose USB UART converter and some buttons and some pins and some wires and some time to put everything together. If you're gonna do it yourself, you're gonna need a wiring diagram, which you can find here in the document section of ultraproffie.com. Next is the source code, which you can download from this link, ProffieOS 6, and Arduino, which is free software that you can download from this address. Choose the operating system, download, install, follow the instructions on the screen. Nothing special about this. Once you have Arduino and the source code, you'll need to open this file, ProffieOS.ino in Arduino. This is the main file of the project. When you are opening it, you are opening the entire project. Two more steps in order to complete the setup. You'll have to install an UltraProffie board package. This is what allows Arduino to work with this family of boards. You're gonna need this link, so start by copying it to the clipboard. Then go to Preferences and paste it here at Additional Boards Manager URL. Okay, this just told Arduino where to look for the board package. Now let's install it. You can use this button or go to Tools, Boards Manager and search for UltraProffie. This is what you need, the UltraProffie board package. Click Install, wait until it ends. You'll see the status here on the bottom right corner of the window. When it is done, the next step is to select the type of board you are going to use. So go to Tools, Board, UltraProffie line, and choose the type of the board you have. UltraProffie 0 does not have an SD card under the battery. This is how you can differentiate between light and zero. The board that I am using now has an SD card, so I will choose UltraProffie Lite. And now we have a complete setup. We can reprogram UltraProffie with the new firmware. Before diving into code, a few words about styles. A style defines the behavior of a blade, the light effect that the blade will show as a response to the saber's motion and button actions. A style always runs on a blade, which can be either analog with a single big LED mounted inside the hilt, or a pixel blade with multiple LEDs along its entire length. Although technically any style can run on any blade, allowing this might not be such a good idea. Styles made for pixel blades might use localized effects which will not show correctly on analog blades. And style made for analog single LED blades will underuse the more expressive pixel blades. So we will differentiate between analog and pixel styles. How to make styles is an entirely different story. I'm not gonna get into this. There are a lot of tutorials online showing you how to make styles for Proffie boards, and you can find a lot of styles already made, which you might just want to use on your saber without getting too deep into how they work. So I'm not gonna show you how to make styles, but I would like to point you to this very useful tool, the style editor, which you can find online at this address. The style editor lets you create, modify, and preview styles. The style itself is defined here, in this long line of text, which is the style code. On the right side, you have another view of the same code, which is called the structure view, which presents you exactly the same thing as here, except now all the parameters are explained so you can understand what's going to happen when you change something. So let's take an example. Let's go to examples and choose this simple style. This is a sparkling style which we can preview using those buttons. Power, that's a clash, that's a stab. We can test various persistent effects, lockup, drag, and so on. Power off. Many of the effects a style can generate on the blade can be previewed in this style editor. By default, we're previewing on a pixel blade, but we can switch to an analog blade with this button in Hilt. So, this is the preview for pixel blades. If I activate in Hilt, I'll see how this style will look on an analog blade. It is quite clear that this style is not good for analog blades, so we're gonna mark this style as pixel only. Let's set this as our goal. We want to bring this sparkling style into the style library of UltraProffie's and use it exclusively for pixel blades. Let's go back now to Arduino, but before making any change, I'll make a copy of the project so I can go to File, Save As. This is my copy of ProffieOS, so I will call it ProffieOS_mine, save, and Arduino will open the newly created copy of the project so I can modify whatever I want without fear that I'll damage the source code. I can always restore the firmware to the original. I need to find the style library first in the source code, and the easiest way to do this is using the search button and then type here style_lib with caps. This will point me to a file called styles.h, not really important, and this is where all the styles are defined. Starting from here, from this line, we have the styles for analog blades, then styles for pixel blades. Every pack of lines of code between the curly brackets represents a style. Let's look at the structure. First, this is a comment. It doesn't have any influence on the code. Then the style code, as we've just seen in the style editor, this is what defines the style. Then the name, which is what we're going to see in the launcher when we're creating presets with the styles. And then the compatibility, what the style is good for, which could be for analog, for pixel, or like this for both. So to add our new style, to make sure there's no mistake, I'm going to start by multiplying one of the existing styles. I'm going to change the comment to my style, and I'm going to delete the style code from the next line, except for the final comma. Delete, and this is what I should be left with. You must be very careful with the syntax when you're working with the source code. Any character can change everything, can make the source code uncompilable, so please make sure you don't remove punctuation marks, parentheses, commas, and so on. I just removed the content of the first line, but I kept the final comma I needed, and instead of what I had here as the style code, I will put a new code. I'm going back to the style editor. This is the style code that I want to use. Press copy and then paste it here again keep the final comma. I'm gonna rename this Sparkle, and I'm gonna keep the specifications that this one is only good for pixel blades. And that's it. I added a new style. Now let's see if Arduino can compile with it. This button here will verify, actually compile the code. Let's see what happens. It says done compiling, and I have here some information about how much program memory the source code uses. It's right now at 95%. When you're adding styles, especially when you're adding more complicated styles, this number will grow. If it goes over 100%, you will not be able to use that code. You will have to remove some of the styles to make some room. Okay, next we will want to upload the new firmware on a board. What I have here is an UltraProffie Lite, already powered, and a dev port. Before using Arduino to upload the new code, I have to put the board in a special mode in which it will allow new firmware. And for this, I'm gonna need to use those two buttons, the reset button and the boot button. The procedure is as follows. Press reset, press boot, release reset, release boot. Press reset, press boot, release reset, release boot. And that's it. Now the board is able to accept new firmware. All I need is an USB connection to the computer, and the board is ready. Now let's prepare to upload. Go to Tools, Board, and I already have selected the appropriate board. Next is Board, where I should choose my USB port. If you don't know which one it is, just unplug the USB cable, see what's missing from here, then plug it again. I know this is my USB port. Then go again to Tools, Programmer, and choose the last option, UART Serial. This is the correct choice to program the board with the dev port. And now I'm going to use this button, Upload, press it and wait. It is compiling again, although it was just compiled earlier. And now it started to download the code. What's displayed here, it's going to depend on the operating system, it's going to depend on the Arduino version, it's going to depend on what day of the week is. It's not always helpful. Just be patient. Wait until you get a more explicit message, which is going to be on the right bottom corner of the window. Can't get enough of Arduino. Done uploading. Now I'll reset the board with the hardware reset button. I should hear the boot sound. And I will use the launcher to see if I got this new style called Sparkle and how it looks on the blade. Back to launcher, reset connection mode if I'm not sure, and choose USB, and then connect. Go to the presets library and try to replace this style with the new one. And there it is. Sparkle is a style that I added before. Choose Sparkle, save, and disconnect. Now back to the board, I will press the reset button, then remove the dev port, And let's see how it behaves in the hilt. There it is. This is my new sparkling style.